Yasvaruchisa Vishvam Rochitam Rochiyam Yaham Yadharko Ganir Yataha Samo Yadharksha Graha Tarakaha
Yena Swarochisa Vishvam Rochitam Rocha Yam Yaham Yatargo Gnir Yata Somo Yatarksha Grahataraka
Yena Swarochisha Vishwam Rochitam Rochayamyaham Yatharkvagnir Yatha Somo Yatarksha Grahataraka.
Yena Svaroshisha Vishvam Roshitam Rosha Yamiyaham Yatarko Kirir Yatha Somo Yatarksha Grahata Tarakaha
Yena Swarochisha Rochitam Rochayam Yaham Yatarko Gnir Yata Somo Yatarkshas Graha Tarakaha
Yena Swarochisha Vishwam Rochitam Arokayam Aham Yatarko Gnir Yata Samo Yatarsha Graha Tarakaha
Rakshakraha
Yena Swarochisha Vishvam Rochitam Rochayam Yaham Yatarko Nir Yata Somo Yatarksha Grahatarakaha
Yena Swarochisha Vishvam Rochitam Rochayam Yaham Yatarko Gnir Yata Samo Yatarksha Griha Tarakaha Yena Swarochisha Vishvam Rochitam Rochayam Yaham Yatarko Gnir Yata Somo Yatariksha Grahatarakaha
Yena by whom Swarochisha by his own effulgence Vishwam all the world Rochitam already created potentially Rochayami to manifest Aham I Yata as much Arka the sun Agni fire Yata as Soma the moon Yata as also Riksha firmament Graha influential planets Taraka stars. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I create after the Lord's creation by his personal effulgence known as the Brahmajyoti, just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, the firmament, the influential planets, and the twinkling stars are also manifest. Report. Lord Brahmaji said to Narada that his impression that Brahma was not the supreme authority in the creation was correct. Sometimes less intelligent men have the foolish impression that Brahma is the cause of all causes. But Narada wanted to clear the matter by the statements of Brahmaji, the supreme authority in the universe. As the decision of the Supreme Court of a state is final, similarly, the judgment of Brahmaji, the supreme authority in the universe, is final in the Vedic process of acquiring knowledge. As we have already affirmed in the previous verse, Naradaji was a liberated soul. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai. Therefore, he is not one of the less intelligent men who accept a false god or gods in their own ways. He represented himself as less intelligent, and yet intelligently presented a doubt to be cleared by the supreme authority so that the uninformed might take note of it and be rightly informed about the intricacies of the creation and the creator. In this verse, Brahmaji clears up the wrong impression held by the less intelligent and affirms that he creates the universal variegatedness after the potential creation by the glowing effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna. Brahmaji has separately also given this statement in the Samhita known as the Brahma Samhita, and he says there, Yasa Prabho Prabhato Jagadanta Koti Kotisha Shesha Vedadi Shesha Bhutam to Brahma Nishkalam Ananta Shesha Bhutam Govindam Badi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence of his transcendental body, known as the Brahmajyoti, unlimited, unfathomed, and all-pervasive, is the cause of the creation of unlimited numbers of planets, etc., with varieties of climates and specific conditions of life. The same statement is in the Bhagavad Gita 14:27. Lord Krishna is the background of the Brahmajyoti. Brahmanehi Pratishtaham. In the Nirukti or Vedic dictionary, the import of Pratishta is mentioned is that which establishes. So the Brahmajyoti is not independent or self-sufficient. Lord Sri Krishna is ultimately the creator of the Brahmajyoti, mentioned in this verse as Sarochi Shah, or the effulgence of the transcendental body of the Lord. This Brahmajyoti is all-pervading, and all creation is made possible by its potential power. Therefore, the Vedic hymns declare that everything that exists is being sustained by the Brahmajyoti. Sarvam Kavidam Brahma. Therefore, the potential seed of all creation is the Brahmajyoti, and the same Brahmajyoti, unlimited and unfathomed, is established by the Lord. Therefore, the Lord Sri Krishna is ultimately the supreme cause of all creation. Aham sarvasya prabhava. One should not expect the Lord to create like the blacksmith with a hammer and other instruments. The Lord creates by his potencies. He has his multifarious potencies. Parasya shaktir vividhaiva shriyate. Just as the small seed of a banyan fruit has the potency to create a big banyan tree, similarly, the Lord disseminates all varieties of seeds by his potential Brahmajyoti, Sarochi Shah, and the seeds are made to develop by the watering process of persons like Brahma. Brahma cannot create the seeds, but he can manifest the seed into a tree just as a gardener helps the plants and orchards to grow by the watering process. The example cited here of the sun is very appropriate. In the material world, the sun is the cause of all illumination. Fire, electricity, the rays of the moon, etc. All luminaries in the sky are creations of the sun. The sun is the creation of the Brahmajyoti, and the Brahmajyoti is the effulgence of the Lord. Thus, the ultimate cause of all creation is the Lord. Translation again. I create after the Lord's creation by his personal effulgence, known as the Brahmajyoti, just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, the firmament, the influential planets, and the twinkling stars are also manifest. Maharaj, if you would like to comment, we'd be pleased.
It's to require knowledge. To acquire knowledge requires humility and intelligence. Otherwise, if one is proud, thinks he knows more than the teacher, then it's not possible. He can't learn anything. So, if one really wants to study the great thinkers, the knowledge of the past that has been passed down, that's called the descending process. Learning from the authority, and that is the best way of learning. Knowledge is beyond our capacity. If one lives for 100 years, then he may know something about the things that are happening during his lifespan. Not everything, but a little bit. But he certainly doesn't know by firsthand experience what happened 1,000 years ago, 2,000, 10,000, 1,000,000. And if he simply speculates, it doesn't mean anything. It's of no value. Some people may appreciate that he's giving us a very nice scenario of what happened, and it's based on his vast learning, his good brain. But there are those with greater brains, because whoever created the seeds has a great brain. Whoever created the sun and makes the sun continue to go around in an orbit, and the moon, and all the stars, and the oceans, and all of them working so amazingly, that's the person who has intelligence. Now, to say that is not caused by any person, it has no logical sense. It can't stand. There's no proof, and it has no philosophical, logical basis. That persons wouldn't be created by persons. We see now that persons are created by persons. Living beings are created by other living beings. And things like machines, such as the planets revolving, they're big machines, they go on under the supervision of persons. Therefore, to conclude that everything is happening automatically or accidentally or impersonally has yet to be proven and cannot be accepted as real knowledge. But unfortunately, they will not allow teaching from a spiritual point of view to be taught in the universities and schools. They prefer to keep it to the just based on things that they can perceive with their senses. But the senses are limited. How can our senses give us knowledge about something that they have no experience of? We have no experience of the sun being born or created. All we've come in the middle somewhere, and it's already going on. The system's already set in motion. But yet we have the audacity to say it always has been going on when we don't know, or it came from zero, or it accidentally exploded. Things are all childish. First step, as Prabhupada hints here, is that this knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedic knowledge should be not only allowed to teach, to be taught, it should be taught in all the universities and all the schools, because it's the perfect answer. Even if you say it can't be proven, it can be proven, but it depends on who you accept as who's the judge. Are we the judges, or is Brahma the judge? And people don't know who Brahma is. So they try to make an analysis of the Vedas without knowing who Brahma is, without trying to understand, is Shiva a real person? Is Krishna a real person? And some people even doubt whether Jesus is a real person. There are those who doubt that because they have an intrinsic nature to rebel against authority. They don't want to know. They don't want to find out the supreme authority, because then they would have to surrender and be subjected to his authority. So it's a sad state for the world. But by the mercy of Lord Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the acharyas, this knowledge is available. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dharma Jnana Dabhisaha. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dharma Jnana Dabhisaha Kalo Nashta Dishamesha Puranarko Dunoditaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam has arisen just like the brilliant sun to eliminate the darkness of the age of Kali. Persons who are endowed with intelligence will take it and relish it. So if we want to really have knowledge about how the universe began and how it's maintained and how everything began, we can learn from Srimad Bhagavatam. And we might still be shy of saying, but how can I have confidence? No one knows Brahma, no one knows Shiva, so I can't quote them as authorities. Then you can quote someone like Bhaktisiddhanta, walking encyclopedia, living encyclopedia. As he was so brilliant that no one dared even have a debate with him. Once it happened that some scientists in the cosmological astronomical field had a debate, and they were so thoroughly defeated that the leader said he passed excrement in his clothing. That's how overwhelmed he was, how shocking he was defeated completely. So even if we can't say, we can't bring Brahma to them, they'll agree that even though Brahma wrote Brahma Samhita and he's speaking here, and it's all written down and it's been passed down for millions of years, they don't accept that. Then take a person like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, or a person like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his father. Or a person like A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, his student. Are they non-thinkers? Are they just blind followers? No, we see that the greatest thinkers are those who accept knowledge from the highest authority.
Dr. Maharaj, thank you very much. And nowadays, the scientific community has rejected Shastras because they've read the Yavana Shastras, like the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran, and they concluded that these Shastras are defective because, for example, in the Bible it says that this world was created only a couple of thousand years ago, which is rejected by the scientific community. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Vedic literatures, in contrast to the Yavana Shastras, the Vedas are eternal, whereas the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran are temporary scriptures that were created for meat eaters, the Yavanas. And in the Vedas, there's no discrepancy. There's complete harmony, and there's no mistake. And therefore, this Srimad Bhagavatam is the most scientific explanation of the creation of the universe. And it says here that Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. The Lord Sri Krishna is the primary creator of the universe. And every planet is inhabited by innumerable living entities. It's not like the scientists say that this planet of human beings is unique in the universe because here there's life and the other planets like the moon and sun are uninhabited. This is a false theory, false explanation. We find from Srimad Bhagavatam that the other planets are full of life and the planets are influential. The science of astrology is a bona fide science. It's a material science. And planets have influence, but planets have very little influence on the devotees of the Lord because they're beyond the influence of the material nature. And the scientists say that there are many suns in this universe, but Srimad Bhagavatam contradicts this and says that there's one sun in every universe, and the stars are not suns, like the scientists say. And the scientists have some information of this one tiny universe, but beyond this universe, there are millions of other universes that have emanated from the body of Mahavishnu. So by imperfect senses, their knowledge is imperfect and defective because the senses are defective and they have a tendency to cheat. They're in the illusion and they make mistakes. But Srimad Bhagavatam is coming from the perfect source, Srila Vyasadeva. So therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the real science. It was true in the past, it's true in the present, and it'll be true millions of years in the future. And the advent of Lord Buddha was predicted in Srimad Bhagavatam thousands of years before Lord Buddha's appearance. The place where Lord Buddha appeared, Gaya, that was also predicted, his mother and father. And in the future, the next incarnation, Lord Kalki, is predicted in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the villas of Shambhala is mentioned, and his father, mother, his father's name will be Vishnu Yasha. This is all predicted in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the future dynasties of Kali Yuga are also predicted, and the symptoms of Kali Yuga, they were predicted 5,000 years ago, and now we see that it's coming to pass. So therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is a perfect scripture, that there are no mistakes or defects in it. So Srila Prabhupada indicated that his books are the law books for the next 10,000 years. So the distribution of these law books is the greatest welfare work in the world, because the world is in darkness. And today is also the disappearance day of Sri Srivas Thakur, who is an incarnation of Narada Muni. 600 years ago, Lord Sri Krishna desired, and he requested that his devotees appear on this earth, and he requested Srimati Sachi Devi, Shri Jagannath Mishra, Acharya Ratna, Srivas Thakur, Vaidacharya, his spiritual master Ishvara Puri, Ishvara Bharati, and Srila Haridas Thakur. He requested these devotees to appear on this earth before him to set the stage for his divine appearance in Mayapur. And the pastimes of Srivas Thakur with Lord Chaitanya are very nicely described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Srivas Thakur's house was the site of Sankirtan performances for 1 full year that were led by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, this ecstatic chanting was performed with the doors closed so that non-believers who came to make fun could not gain entrance. Thus the non-believers almost burned to ashes and died in envy. To retaliate, they planned various ways to give trouble to Srivas Thakur. One night, while kirtan was going on inside Srivas Thakur's house, a Brahmin named Gopala Chapala, the chief of the non-believers, who was talkative and very rough in his speech, placed all the paraphernalia for worshipping the goddess Durga outside Srivas Thakur's door. On the upper portion of a plantain leaf, he placed such paraphernalia for worship as udafula, turmeric, vermilion, red sandalwood, and rice. He placed a pot of wine beside all this, and in the morning, when Srivas Thakur opened his door, he saw this paraphernalia. Srivas Thakur called for all the respectable gentlemen of the neighborhood and smilingly addressed them as follows. Gentlemen, every night I worship the goddess Bhavani. Since the paraphernalia for the worship is present here, now all you respectable Brahmins and members of the higher castes can understand my position. And then all the assembled gentlemen exclaimed, what is this? What is this? Who has performed such mischievous activities? Who is that sinful man? They called for a sweeper, Hadi, who threw all the items of worship far away and cleansed the place by mopping it with a mixture of water and cow dung. After 3 days, leprosy attacked Gopal Chapala, and blood oozed from sores all over his body. Incessantly covered with germs and insects biting him all over his body, Gopal Chapala felt unbearable pain. His entire body burned in distress. Since leprosy is an infectious disease, Gopal Chapala left the village to sit down on the bank of the Ganges underneath a tree. One day, however, he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passing by and spoke to him as follows. My dear nephew, I'm your maternal uncle in our village relationship. Please See how greatly this attack of leprosy has afflicted me. Jai Shishi Gurnatai. As an incarnation of God, you are delivering so many fallen souls. I am also a greatly unhappy fallen soul. Kindly deliver me by your mercy. Hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared greatly angry, and in that angry mood, he spoke some words chastising him. O sinful person, envious of pure devotees, I shall not deliver you. Rather, I shall have you bitten by these germs for many millions of years. You have made Srivas Thakur appear to have been worshiping the goddess Bhavani. Simply for this offense, he will have to fall down into hellish life for 10 million births. I've appeared in this incarnation to kill the demons, Pashandis, and after killing them, to preach the call of devotional service. After saying this, the Lord left to take his bath in the Ganges, and that sinful man did not give up his life, but continued to suffer. When Sri Chaitanya, after accepting the renounced order of life, went to Jagannath Puri and then came back to the village of Kulia, upon his return, that sinful man took shelter at the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord, being merciful to him, gave him instructions for his benefit. You have committed an offense at the lotus feet of Srivas Thakur, the Lord said. First, you must go there and beg for his mercy. And then if he gives you his blessings, and you do not commit such sins again, you will be freed from these reactions. Then the Brahmin, Gopal Chapala, went to Srivas Thakur and took shelter of his lotus feet. And by Srivas Thakur's mercy, he was freed from all sinful reactions. Another time, Lord Chaitanya requested Srivas Thakur to chant the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. And Srivas Thakur complied, was chanting many, many names of Lord Vishnu. And when he came to Lord Nrsimha's name, Lord Chaitanya became deeply thoughtful, and he assumed the fearsome Lord of Lord Nrsimhadev, and he ran through the streets with a club in his hand to kill all the atheists. And when the people saw Lord Chaitanya in that angry mood, they became greatly afraid and fled here and there. And when Lord Chaitanya saw that the people were afraid, he came to his senses and he thought, I have committed an offense, because causing fear in people in general is an offense. And Srivas Thakur said, no, you have not committed an offense. By seeing you in that mood of Lord Nrsimhadev, everybody was liberated. And there was once a Mohammedan tailor who was sewing clothes for Srivas Thakur and his family. And this tailor was very pleased to see the dancing of Lord Chaitanya. He appreciated Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan very much. And the Lord, being very merciful to this tailor, showed him his own form. And the tailor said, Dekino, I have seen. And he became ecstatic and started dancing in ecstasy. And that Mohammedan tailor, from that day on, he became an exalted devotee of Lord Chaitanya. Anyone have any comments or questions? Yeah. Yes, Rishi Kumar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was wondering if you could give any advice on things we should do on the disappearance days of previous acharyas. and associates of the Lord.
Yes, by chanting Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Gaur Bhaktavinda, every time we chant the Panchatattva Mahamantra, remembering Lord Chaitanya and his 5 features. One of his features is Srivasta Kaur. So we could chant their glories. We could chant on the disappearance days, the beautiful prayers. There was a song by Narottam Das Thakur that we chant on the disappearance days of the Vaishnavas. Yes.
If you have that song, I can sing. I can read that.
Yeah.
If we have the Yanilo Prema Dana.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there another question someone had? Okay. This is Jayanilo Premadana. Official name is Swaprasada. Oh, I lost. Bhagavad Viraha. Okay. Jayanilo Premadana. Karuna Prachur.
Jayanilo Premadana.
Eno Prabhu Kota Kela Chayataku. Eno Prabhu Kota Kela Srivastaku. Kahamora Svaruprupa Kahasanata Kadasaragu Nata Patita Pava. Aharamojata Juga Kavira. Eka Kala Kota Kela Goranatara. Ashane Kuchibo Mata Anale Pashibo Gorandane Nidhi Kota Gile Pavo Te Saba Sangira Sange Jai Koilo Bila Te Saba Sangira Jai Koilo Bila Te Sangana Paya Kande Narotamada Jayani Prema Dana Koruna Prachu Ena Prabhu Kota Kela Shivastaku. That's what it means. Translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy. Where is such a personality as Srivas Acharya Thakur gone?
Where are my Sarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatana? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna Das Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
So we're going to have the Sankirtan book distribution scores for the week.
So this week we had, I just got one of them. We had 7 book distributors. So we'll read them for the pleasure of Sri Sri Gaurnitai, Srila Prabhupada, the Sampradaya Acharyas, and all the assembled devotees. So in 7th position, with 1 medium book for 0.5 points, Bhaktanaway Prabhu. Actually, we had 8 book distributors. So 2 mahas also? Okay, so for a total of 4.5 points, Bhaktinaway Prabhu. And Bhaktinaway, you can come take a maha sweet over here from Maharaj. And in 7th position, with 1 maha book, 1 big book, 1 medium book, and 2 small books for a total of 4 book points. Radhastali Devidasi. Harimo. And tied also for 7th position with 1 maha book and 2 big books for a total of 4 book points. Jai Keshava Prabhu. And so now in 5th position with 2 small books, 2 medium books, 4 big books, 2 maha big books for a total of 9.5 book points. Jagannath Prabhu. And in 4th position with 8 small books, 2 medium books, 7 big books, 1 maha big book for a total of 12 book points. Magadari Prabhu. In 3rd position with 15 small books, 15 medium books, 15 big books, 15 maha big books for a total of 66 book points. Radha Damodar Prabhu. And in 2nd position with 65 small books, 65 medium books, 60 big books, and 45 maha big books for a total, I have to do the math, sorry.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare.
For a total of 198.75 book points. Bhaktavasali. And in 1st position with 135 small books, 91 medium books, 82 big books, and 82 maha big books. Sorry, I have to do the math again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
For a total of 325.25 book points, Rishi Kumar Das.
Hare
Krishna. So the total RVC score is 219 small books, 175 medium books, 164 big books, and 146 maha big books, for a total of 598.25 book points. Okay, so a highlight. The one that first comes to mind is just the person who I ran into the most. We were at a music festival and I met this guy named Dylan with a big beard. And I think I complimented his beard and I gave him a stack of the books we have, Bhagavad Gita, Science of Self-Realization, and 2 smaller ones. And he was really interested in it. And then I asked him if he lives near Kansas City. And he said he lives in Kansas City and he really wants to come by for the Sunday feast. So he gave me his number. And then whenever I saw him again, which was the whole weekend, several times, he kept talking about coming. So hopefully we'll see him.
Red Sun Book Distribution Ki Jai.
I think the highlight was a really tall guy named Ryan. He was, I think, as tall as Damodar. And he took the books and he held them for like 10, maybe 12 minutes. And he started asking me whether about how I got on this path. And I thought he was a Christian, so I was going to walk away. But then he said he used to be a evangelical Christian. So I just kept talking to him, and I think I was just trying to relate to him in some way. And finally, I mentioned that I was doing some electrical work, and my electric went out, and there's no like possible way for me to explain why. And finally, it clicked, and he got the books because he was also an electrician. Oh, thank you.
Hi-Ro. Is this his first debut for? Yeah, this is a major debut for Bhakti Vasiliana book distribution. Highlight scores. Hi-Ro.
And the temple total was actually a few points more. It's 611.75 book points.
Hi.
So we went to Reconnection, and there was so many memorable interactions. Like there was this one guy, Vasily and I talked to. He was like some Mayavad, and he was doing like puja for Lord Shiva. So he had a whole tray. He had fruits. He had the everything. He was chanting the Sanskrit, and so that was interesting. He didn't take a book though, but we gave him the sauce, but he didn't take a book. But there's one guy I remember maybe on Saturday, he was standing on crutches, on the dusty road waiting for a ride. And I just approached him, and he was really nice, and he wanted to go sit in the shade and talk about the Bhakti stack and the books. And he gave a really nice donation, and he was asking nice questions, and he was just really appreciating what we were doing out here. And it was very sweet. So yeah, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.
So we went out to the plaza for the Saturday Harinam, and there was a nice gentleman. He had just gotten some food from one of the restaurants close by, and I approached him, and he was kind of a gentle person, maybe in his 50s. And he told me, "Oh, Bhagavad Gita, I love that book." So that became a nice talking point, and I gave him a few other ones, and he was happy to receive them, and he gave a nice donation. And so I made sure he got plenty of books, and he also gave me one of his desserts. So I took that, and then we went on with our business. I didn't take the item, but I accepted the gift. So Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. My highlight was in Loose Park. I met a man who was just sitting on a bench, and he was enjoying nature, and we came around with the Harinam. And I started telling him about the books and how it's about God consciousness, and gave him the whole spiel, gave him the spiel about the books. And he told me that he was really into nature, and he really wanted to learn about God, and that he was really interested in the books. So I talked to him about it. I told him about the whole 3.5 crore times. Like, if you chant 3.5 crore times, you can get ecstatic symptoms. And I told him about that, and yeah, he was really interested in it. He even looked up the mantra on YouTube while I was with him, so it was really nice. It was a good interaction, you know. So yeah, I was just really happy with that interaction, and he seemed really sincere. So I hope we see him one day. So Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. I was with the Sankirtan party in the plaza on Saturday. We had a nice Harinam, and I got a book out to this lady. She was just walking by, and I said, "Hey, you know, here we got some books on yoga," and she took it, and I explained a little bit to her, but she didn't seem like she was listening too much. But she gave a donation, and so I guess sometimes people don't need to hear about it. You know, they just are willing to give from the heart. Transcendental Book Distribution Key.
Hare Krishna. So we went on Harinam on Saturday, and we haven't gone out in a while, Jakeshava and I. So for most of the time, I was chanting with the devotees. And at some point, I was thinking, I at least want to get one book out. And we had a stack. We had like a wrapped stack that we got from our trip to Dallas. And so they said, just take it on the road with you. You never know who you'll run into on your way home. And I was like, okay, yeah, gas station, cool. It didn't happen. So we still had them. And we brought them on Harinam with us. And I walked back to the car, and on my way back, I was alone and I was praying to Lord Nityananda. I was just thinking, Lord Nityananda, you know, I don't have so much sincerity, but someone out there might have more than me. So please just send them to me, and please allow me to be an instrument to give these books to them so they can, you know, follow Srila Prabhupada and find you. And so as soon as I prayed that, this man came up to me. He's like, I love your sari. I was like, oh, that's my chance. And so I talked to him, and he was like, what are those, you know? And I was like, oh, these are books on yoga and meditation. And he took them, he grabbed them. He's like, I love this. And I was like, yeah, we don't sell them, but, you know, I told him the whole thing, and he bought the books. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.
So this was on Saturday at the plaza. I started off playing the mridanga, and Jagannatha was distributing the books. He was doing a pretty good job. I think he had like 100 of them, but I don't know. So eventually 30 minutes passed, and my shoulders and my elbows really started to hurt from playing the mridanga. So I was like, you should play Jagannatha. So we swapped. He gave me the book back. He's like, you have to distribute at least one book, just one book. So I was like, okay. And maybe like a minute passes, and then this young couple pass, and the lady gives me $5, and then I'm like, wait, you can't leave without a book. So I just give her the book. So that was it. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.